Won't you please come join me for some midnight therapy?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Midnight Therapy. I'm your host, Kat Matthews. It is a glorious Sunday morning, and I am drinking the caffeine, the coffee, all amped up to deliver you a very special episode of Midnight Therapy, as always. Little disclaimer, this is Ubaldo week, or Race of the Saints, in Jessup, Pennsylvania. So I will not have an episode for you next week, next Saturday, probably not Sunday. And I'm saying probably. I mean, there's a slight chance I might have time, but it's going to be a very hectic week, as always. So I'm going to get you this one, and then you may have to go back and rewatch older ones if you need to get your fill next week, because I don't think I'm going to have an episode. So just a warning, there's like 55 of you now, so it wouldn't be fair if I didn't announce this scheduling concern that's coming up. But yes, it is Ubaldo week. I made a lot of art for this year's Race of the Saints celebration in Jessup, Pennsylvania. I made the St. George print last year of him on the horse killing the dragon, and that went over pretty well. But the other saints and the other teams were like, well, where's the other two? And I was like, I don't know. But this year I had time and I did them, and then I printed them and sold them. But then I was like, man, I thought of some other stuff, and I came up with these like tarot card / little icon 3-frame, tri-frame little prints. They're really cool. Got some here. Look at these. We got the Anthony, of course, Ubaldo, and George. They're pretty cool. They're pretty cool to just look at, pretty cool to hold, pretty cool to whip out at parties. But I made them. I was prolific with ideas this Ubaldo. And I don't know what that really is. So let me put it this way. You know the old expression, when it rains, it pours. That could be good, that could be bad. But pretty much when ideas are flowing, it seems like there's tons of them. There's a plethora of ideas. And then when they're not, it's a drought, and you really don't have much control over that as a creative type. And I always refer to the idea of the muse. Does anybody know what that is? I don't know. A lot of people use that as an expression, like my inspiration. The origin of that word is like Greek and Roman mythology. I guess they were muses, were daughters of Zeus. They represented art and science, or it was like a force or a person or personified force that was the source of inspiration in people. Like talking to the muse, or the muse talking to you. And I really can't think of a better way to put it than that. Like, you don't come up with an idea. You don't just sit down and grunt and push, like you're taking a poop and make an idea just come out. That does not happen. It kind of just hits you. Like, the light bulb moment. It kind of just, it comes to you. I don't know how to put it. Where do ideas come from? That's the question. You could say, oh, well, you were thinking about it and the brain was subconsciously working. I don't know about any of that. I feel like it just comes to you. And I wrote, like I said, it's my 30th original song that just came out. And I could sit down and try to write a song. It might be okay. But that's not really how I ever done it. It was always the idea hit you somehow or another. And then you sat down, and then maybe it was just flowing. Like, it just flows from somewhere. And a little bit is you, like if you're missing parts of it. But the big chunk of it came from, who knows, the muse, the ether. This last song, we were at an OBGYN appointment, and they asked Christy, single or married? And she was like, well, I guess single, because we're not married. And she was like, well, yeah, he's your significant other. And I was like, yeah, more like insignificant other. And then I was like, well, that could be a good song. And then the song flowed. Available on all streaming platforms. But yeah, I don't know where ideas come from. That is debatable. Like Back to the Future, when Doc fell and hit his head on the toilet and then came up with the idea for the flux capacitor, the thing that makes time travel possible. I don't know. He didn't just try to come up with that. He only came up with it because he hit his head. Think on that. My soon to be brother-in-law is coming in for the race of the Saints today on this Sunday, and he will be living in our house for a week or maybe more. Now, usually I really like the hotel house thing where there's like a lot of people, like revolving door coming in and out. I like that. Like Full House and all those shows, like Family Matters, like the aunt was living with them and the grandma. Like, I like that. Sometimes AJ's a little much, though, I will say. He likes to party, comes in and out at all hours of the night, makes noises. One time he told me I walked down the stairs too loud to go to work. I don't know. I'll try to walk quieter down the stairs, AJ. Here's another new development of him being a little much. We have a lot of Home Depot animatronics for Halloween and Christmas. We are suckers for that. I've been poor my whole life. I've always been poor, but I've always had money for Home Depot animatronics. Either I found a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. I made sure I had them. And as you know, if you're a fan of the show, I recently got the Jack Frost animatronic for Christmas and the Scrooge one. Now those they weren't like hot sellers because like Scary Christmas isn't great. But we bought them and we had them up and it was nice. And then we didn't know what to do with them because you can't really take them apart. Once they're together, they're together. So we put them down in the basement, which is where AJ usually sleeps. But he is scared of the Home Depot animatronic Jack Frost and Ebenezer Scrooge. So what do? Now we have to get another room ready for him. Because his usual room, the basement, is now the home of the two Scary Christmas animatronics, in which he is fearful of. So that's, another annoying thing I have to do today. Let's get a room ready with Christy. You know how it is. Everybody has these problems, not just me. But yeah, I don't regret those purchases at all. Speaking of purchases, I recently bought something amazing. Me and Christy, we were playing checkers, because we're bored sometimes. We play checkers. It gets boring. So I was like, we need to get into chess. Chess is better. Chess is all around you. The life, in and of itself is chess. 4D. You got to be 4 steps ahead. You got to be calculated. You got to be well versed. You got to know the rules. It's a metaphor. So I said, let's play chess. And maybe our unborn daughter will also become a chess player and be smart. Now, Christy is, for lack of a better term, a sore loser when she loses, which is, a good amount of times when I am, her adversary. And I knew that going in. So I made sure she was very well versed in the rules of chess before we even purchased a chess board. And I was going to buy one on Amazon. They have these Chinese fake chess sets. And they're nice. They're in a little box and they're magnetic and whatever. The pieces aren't that great. They're just, little basic plastic pieces. So I was about to hit purchase on Amazon. I said, what am I doing? I'm going to go on Marketplace and see what they got. You know what this lady had? She had like an old school 1950s Renaissance chess set, like where the pieces are like carved into people. The pawns are like knights with a shield, and the king is an actual king, like with the saber and the robe and the crown. It is so cool. And I remember my dad had one when I was a kid, and it felt so fancy. There's like felt on the bottom, and it moved so nicely. So I negotiated with her. She met me at Sheets after work, and I took home the Renaissance chess set, and we played, and it was awesome. And I let her learn the rules, and I put a YouTube video up. We played it 5 times. She learned all the rules, and then in the practice round where I told her what to do, she beat me because I told her. But then we had a real round, and I won. And she got very mad. But now she wants to play again. So we'll see how that goes. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. You know what I'm saying? But it was fun. So I have a Renaissance chess set now, which is, it's a status piece. It's a status piece. I wanted to keep it out on a coffee table, next to a few Cuban cigars. I don't know if we're there yet. I don't know if that's the aesthetic of the house. I'd like it to be, but I don't think it is. We're going to do a quick news recap here. This has to be a quick episode. Very busy, but this is going right to the top of the list because this just happened. So I'm just going to touch on it. I don't even know anything about it. I just wanted to tell you. This giant sail ship, it looked like a galleon, an old pirate ship with the big mast, 3 of them, lights on it, that Christmas lights all over it. Big sail ship flying a massive Mexican flag crashed into the Brooklyn Bridge. That's how tall the mast was on this ship. It crashed into the Brooklyn Bridge and broke. And nobody knows what it was or what it was blasting like Mexican music. And it crashed and everybody was filming it. And it's like a story. And I just wanted to tell you that. Don't know what's going on with that, but hey, maybe you heard it here first. Look into it. Again, this is not a news show. I'm not a licensed therapist. Wink. Let's talk about Trump. He's all over the news, and there's a lot to talk about. I'm going to try to do it briefly. He wants to lower the cost of pharmaceutical drugs, and people are still mad at that. Now, I always say, stay away from people that have a problem for every solution. You know what I'm saying? Now, usually you would want a solution for every problem. Some people have a problem for every solution. So, like, I hear this. I'm a bartender. I talk to a lot of people, and I'll hear them say, they'll be like, he'll never get those prices down. He doesn't know what he's doing. It's like, don't you want the prices to go down? Even with these like war peace talks, they're like, he'll never get peace. I'm like, but isn't it good to want it? Like, shouldn't we try? I don't know. I'm just so annoyed with the negativity, man. There's a problem with pharmaceuticals in this country. As we know, this is the only country in the world that allows for these comedic, I would say, pharmaceutical ads to air on television, which is slightly weird, even on social media and YouTube and stuff like that. And these commercials. But I wonder, have you ever pondered how odd they are? Like these new drugs that you can't pronounce, like xylophonebia. Made that up. Xylophonebia. Ask if xylophonebia is right for you. And it's like a woman at a picnic dancing around at a senior's cruise with yacht rock playing with her elderly silver-haired husband next to her wearing a floral necklace. And as that's all going on visually, the audio is a monotone woman's voice saying, this drug may cause, and listing endless side effects, including death. And then at the end, that same voice goes, ask if xylophonebia is right for you. Call your doctor. Now think about that. Why are you, like, while you are watching America's Got Talent at night, why are you viewing this thing this advertisement and jotting it down on a notebook and saying, I'm going to ask my doctor to get on that. Isn't it the doctor's job to tell you what medicine might be right for you, not you? Didn't they tell us trust the experts and stop trying to be a doctor and stop doing your own research? Remember with COVID, they said all that? But now it's like, hey, doc, I was watching The Price is Right, and I think I should go on this. And he goes, yeah, me too. Here you go. Like, what? That's a problem in its own realm, but let's just say if we could get the prices down on these drugs that are killing us, that we are suggesting for ourselves, that might be nice. That's a step in the right direction. We don't want to add insult to injury. If the drug is going to kill us and make us have to go on other drugs, it better be cheap, better be affordable, you know. RFK was doing a testimony in the news, I saw, and he was speaking to like a council of some sort, and he was talking about, the health. He's in charge of the health, and he's doing some things with getting rid of the dyes, the food dyes, and all this stuff. As you know, he's working with the drug companies as well, trying to fix that mess. And there was a protest. There was a violently loud protest, and these people got escorted out. They had signs, and they were screaming, and they were disturbing, the peace. I get it, blah, blah, blah. But one of the people protesting was Ben from Ben and Jerry's ice cream. Now, I don't know if you know anything about Ben and Jerry's ice cream. I know a little bit. I know they're very political, and it's annoying. I always knew they were like political. And these dudes, they're like the Springsteen era activist, where you are very out of touch. You're nearly like 80 or 70 some years old, or at least 70. And you try to still resonate with a hippie culture that doesn't exist. Like when Springsteen talks about the Democratic Party, that's the Democratic Party from like 40 years ago. Like, it's almost like he doesn't know what he's talking about, because he probably doesn't. He just knows it will look good, and the old establishments that he is used to, like the record labels and the TV and the media and the commercials and the publishing deals and that, will favor him more if he's more of a liberal. He knows that. Ben and Jerry's knows that they get free publicity, and all these stupid, fake, dying journalist companies like Vice and all these other ones will make an article for social media saying that Ben got kicked out of the hearing. The only problem is it's tired. It's like Robert De Niro going outside and giving a speech about Trump. Nobody cared or asked for that. Go act. Do another mob movie. Nobody needs you to be an activist. Springsteen, please sing Jungle Land. Maybe even Thunder Road. Born to Run. None of your new stuff, though. We don't want to hear any of that. We also don't want to hear you talk about trans bathrooms at a concert, or how bad you think the country is under Trump. How's your $500 million deal you got for your catalog of work that you sold 8 times over? Why don't you donate that to the children in Gaza? Why? Why not? Because he doesn't care about the children in Gaza. He just wants you to think he does. Just like Ben and Jerry's doesn't care about the kids in Gaza, but that's what he screamed. He got up at an RFK meeting, wasn't even talking about Gaza. RFK has nothing to do with Gaza. He's in charge of health and human services or something like that. He has nothing to do with the military. But yet Ben and Jerry, or Jerry, no Jerry, Ben, who cares? But Ben, whatever his name is, got up and said, what about Gaza? And then they quickly escorted him out. He felt like a martyr. He slapped himself on the back. He felt like he was doing the civil rights movement. He was right there on the front lines with MLK. He was getting water hosed down for a real cause. He just wants to sell more of his overpriced ice cream. You get that? When you think of ice cream, do you want to think about politics and dead children and Gaza and war? and bombs and drones. No. Why? What are you doing? Just like when you're at a concert, you want to have a drink and dance to some music and listen to it. You don't want to be lectured about politics. You know what I'm saying? That's what this show is for. If you want to be lectured and hear about these topics, you watch this show or something else, but you don't cross the mediums, you know? Ice cream is about a little guilty pleasure snack. Or if you're stoned and you want something, you eat a pint of Ben and Jerry's Rocky Road. You don't need to open the lid and see a picture of a hostage. You know what I'm saying? So, Ben, that was a stunt and no one's impressed. Well, I'm not. I hope you're not either. Let's talk about the Qatar jet or Qatar. Qatar, right? I pronounced the QU in an English way. Qatar jet. You probably heard the story. If not, I'll tell you. The former prime minister, he's a sheik. They call him HBJ. I'm not going to try to pronounce his name. I won't do it justice. Gifted the United States a 747 worth $400 million. It was a gift. I get socks as a gift on Christmas. Never got a $400 million luxury jet though. So maybe it's just jealousy that people are mad about that. It used to belong to the Qatar royal family. Now it's a gift to the U.S. to fill in as a temp Air Force One, apparently. That's going to be a big endeavor. You have to equip the plane to make it Air Force One with all the bombs and the secret anti-missile shit and all that technology. That's going to take a while. Probably have to paint it also to make it look like Air Force One. You also have to check it over to make sure there's no tracking devices or anything else in it. So I don't know how quick this is going to happen, but Trump is renovating Air Force One with Boeing. He wants it nice and new. I think he wants it navy. I think he's going away from that like bright royal blue, which is a nice touch. It is a nice touch. But who knows when he's going to get any of these planes ready for the air. So I don't know. But people are all upset. They're saying there's moral concerns about this and maybe it's a bribe and Trump shouldn't accept it. I'm kind of torn. Like somebody wants to give you a free plane, you take it, you know? I don't know. It's not like this is the first time the US has been gifted something like that, and it won't be the last. Our Statue of Liberty, which is really Satan, as you know. Go back to the old episode if you don't remember that conversation. That was a gift from France. You think they just did that to be fun? Or I go, here's a free gift. No, they wanted something too. It's symbolism. It's the visual representation of a newfound alliance or friendship or business dealing. Maybe it's the ticket to Mar-a-Lago to talk about Trump endorsing Live Golf. I don't care what it is, but these deals happen all the time. We live in the social media era, so you see it every day like a spectacle. It's not really that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal. Hunter Biden was selling paintings for millions of dollars just to have a meeting with his daddy. And Hunter Biden's not an artist, you know? It's all about what you choose to focus on. And a lot of people have TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, and they hate him, and everything he does is a problem, including accepting a free jet from the Qatar royal family. It's a nice jet, I will say. Very nice. I never get stuff like that, you know? So I'm not jealous. Another final Trump story. 8647, 8647, code word. Little weird, I'm going to be honest. Very cryptic messaging from the former FBI director, James Comey. Remember Comey? Trump fired him. You're fired. He shared an image, probably AI, I assume AI, of seashells on a beach that said 8647. Now, obviously, if you're that high status of a person, you were the former FBI director, you're in the public light. You know, they're looking. You have an audience. The media is aware of you. You don't just go sharing shit willy-nilly, you know? So he shared this. He knew what he was doing. You know what 86 means? Like 86, those patties, if you're a SpongeBob fan like I am, it means get rid of. It also means, it could say kill, but usually get rid of. And that's up to interpretation. But 86, like you got 86th. 86 them out of here. It's an old reference to something. You can look that up. Some bar. But 86, 47 Trump, 47 president. That means get rid of 47, get rid of Trump. Could be a code. You have a lot of QAnon people. You got a lot of flat Earth people. You got a lot of people going down rabbit holes out there, and you're dropping these little hints. They're gonna go crazy, of course they are. So now he's under investigation, which is interesting. He tried to backstep a little and say, I just shared something. I didn't know, I didn't mean any harm. Oh, okay. Definitely code. It was definitely a code. It was definitely a little Easter egg, little rhetoric, seeing if people pick up what he's putting down, see if they smell what he's stepping in. You know what I'm saying? Moving on. Kanye West, as we know, is a Nazi, which is ironic and odd. He took it to the next level. I thought him wearing the KKK outfit and having the diamond bedazzled swastika necklace was enough, but his new song is titled Heil Hitler. Just let that soak in. He made a very catchy beat, and people are like, oh, no, what's this? And then it's a song about being a Nazi. And because we live in a simulation of insanity, it's actually getting popular, this song. People are singing it. There's TikTok dances for it. You can only imagine what the dance moves are. What world are we in? What world are we in? Who's going to break it to Kanye? It's like, do you know if you met Hitler, he probably wouldn't like you? You know what I'm saying? He wouldn't like a lot of us, but he definitely wouldn't like Kanye. I don't know if he understands that. But we're getting into very odd times, like weirder every day. The thing is, some people have called Kanye West a genius in the past. I'll be the first to tell you, I never understood that ever. I don't think there was one piece of art, one song, one mix, one beat he put out that was anything more than mid or subpar or average. I didn't think anything was genius. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never listened to Kanye West and say, wow, this guy's a genius. Other rappers are genius level, but him, there was nothing he ever did that was super stellar. Ever. I think he always just was able to manipulate the masses into thinking he was a genius through his cult of personality. Marrying a Kardashian, being the crazy one, coming out with the sneaker brand. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was always in the public eye. So he was around enough where you maybe were convinced that he was better than he actually was. I think that definitely happened. But there's a method to this guy's madness. I would say he's not very talented. And now to add insult to injury, he's also a Nazi. You know? And yet we are still talking about him. There's got to be something to his methods. I think he knows how to stay in the public eye and to be ridiculous. He takes pages out of Trump's book. Trump gets free publicity all the time through the media. So does Kanye. And I think he just ups the ante. I don't think he believes anything he's saying. I hope not. But he just knows if I put this song out, people will be talking about me. And he has no couth. He has nothing to stand for anymore. You know what I'm saying? There's no persona to upkeep. He doesn't care what people think about him. He has let go. So he is willing to lower that bar as far as it can go, even singing about Nazis and Hitler. It's cheap and what's the term they call that? There's a term, Bush League. I'll call it that. It's just, it's cheap. It's corny, predictable. Don't be shocked by it. It's not that shocking. The guy's insane. And if he does believe what he's saying, I believe maybe he was MK Ultra and made crazy for whatever reason. For whatever reason, and that's up to you to be conspiratorial. Maybe he started talking about the wrong group of people, so they had to MK Ultra his brain and make him go insane. And if you think what I'm saying is crazy, look up Jolly West, Jack Ruby, Charles Manson. Go down the rabbit hole if you wish. Anywho, Kanye West is a Nazi, not a genius. Number 4, science. Let's talk about science. There are these articles that come out, and I don't even know who's paying attention to them anymore. Like it used to be a thing. Like CNN would put out an article about like a species or something like that they discovered. Now CNN has just lost all credibility and no one really cares. But I still see and read these articles when there's like a discovery of some sort, wondering if anyone even cares. But I saw that Antarctica gained ice for the first time in decades. There's more ice now than ever in Antarctica. Let that sink in. I thought all the ice was melting and the sea levels were rising and we were going to flood and we are going to lose California and Florida. Yeah, here's how you knew that was all a lie. Nobody got rid of beachfront property. All the rich people did not sell the beachfront property. Why? Because they knew it wasn't going anywhere. They just wanted you and me and all the poors to think it was, so that they bought into the climate change, global warming scam, which would encourage you to buy an electric car and to recycle and to buy the toothbrush made of bamboo and suck a paper straw. And to join the Paris Climate Accords, because it's a big issue. The humans are destroying the planet. Everything is getting hotter. You see how hot it is? I see these people on Facebook. My kids are going to have to live in 150-degree summers because of you. I don't know about that. We have more ice on the planet now than we had in a long time. So yeah, I don't know about the whole climate change thing. I'll tell you, I don't know. I think it's quite a bit of an ego to think that humans could alter the climate of Earth, even with the mass pollution that we do. That's a big, it's a tall order to have, even with all our pollution, all the factories and the cars and everything. I don't know if that would ever, kill Earth. It might. Or Earth goes through natural changes all the time, and it heats up and it cools down naturally, and there's nothing we can do about it. Solar flares, there's so many factors that are out of our control. I think we feel like we have so much control. To insinuate that we could destroy the planet, that's one thing, but it's almost funnier to think that we could fix the planet. We can't. The planet will fix itself. Planet's not going anywhere. We might go somewhere. We might die, but the planet will be fine. And in 100 years, it'll overgrow everything and reset and be fine. Some new dolphin species will take over, maybe. I don't know. Speaking of planets, though, they said they found another planet. This is another article I read, and it's the official 9th planet because they got rid of Pluto. When you read this stuff, it is almost like you're reading fiction. I'm gonna be honest. They're like, we found this planet. It's really far out there, but it's revolving around our sun, and we can't really see it, but we know it's there. And it makes you wonder, like, why even publish an article like that? Not only can you not see it, so who the hell cares? Even if you could see it, people would look at it and go, wow, and then move right on to a video of somebody screaming in a Walmart. But you can't see it, so why even publish it? I'll tell you why, because planets and science and these things that are fiction that you can't really fact check, like dinosaurs and things like that, they make a lot of money. The articles get a lot of clicks because people are fascinated with what they don't know. I don't, you can't trust all this planet stuff. When you see these images of planets, like if you do a little research and deep dive, that's a computer generated rendering of what the planet might look like. We have pictures of no planets except Mars and Earth. And Mars is even up for debate. And maybe even Earth is up for debate. But when you have a planet that's like millions of miles away that they say, oh, this is like an Earth-like planet we could live on, they don't have a picture of that. That's a rendering. And they don't really have any data either. It just sounds cool and it gets clicks and it makes people go to science museums and observatories and astronomy conventions and listen to Neil deGrasse Tyson talk and talk and talk. It's an industry. Same with dinosaurs. Dinosaurs make a lot of money. Even the Creation Museum, Ken Ham, he has dinosaurs on Noah's Ark. You know, the creationists, because dinosaurs make money. Dinosaurs might be the greatest Barnum and Bailey scam of all time. You know what I'm saying? And here's why. Don't come at me. He doesn't believe in dinosaurs. No, not that. I'm going to tell you that if you don't know already, a lot of the dinosaurs that you know and love were, greatly exaggerated, and there was a lot of gaps to be filled in with those dinosaurs. They may have found one or two fossilized bones, and then they filled in the rest. And if you don't believe me, you can look this up. A lot of it is like a plaster, fake. A lot of the dinosaurs, and a lot of them were wrong, and they're still figuring out that they were wrong. They had the wrong heads on certain dinosaurs, and they made up what they think the dinosaur would look like, basing it off of a bird, because birds are more related to dinosaurs than anything else. So they look at bird structures and the bone structures of birds to make like a giant femur based off of a chicken's femur for the T-Rex. This is a fact. And the word or term dinosaur didn't even come into existence until the 1840s. Some guy, Sir Richard Owen, he called them terror lizards. And it was in Greek. A terror lizard. Think about that. That's this whole industry and this trust the science and the facts. The whole name, dinosaur, came from some guy calling it a terror lizard. Everything you know is a lie. Everything's a lie. Just accept it. We have a crude understanding of this life. We think we know everything. We really know nothing. But yeah, before that, these terror lizards were found and discovered, and I think they were just referred to as dragons. I think that's why dragons come up so often in old paintings and in old writing and in folktale and in myth and in story. St. George, boom, slayed the dragon. This comes up all the time. Maybe they were around. Maybe some survived. Maybe there was some subspecies of these things that survived. I don't know. But the ancient world did talk about dragons a lot, and only until 1840, 1840 on, do we start referring to them as dinosaurs or terror lizards, which sounds like a dragon. So yeah, these stories, these news stories, I couldn't care less. I used to be so fascinated. I would reiterate it. I would regurgitate it like a fact. I'd be like, "Did you hear they discovered a new planet, Gorsh?" And then I would be like, "Hey, look, they found a new dinosaur, and global warming, it's melting the ice." I would just say that. When I was like a kid, I don't know, maybe when I was like 14, I said that. But now I'm like, nah, I don't know. What are you talking about? Got to become like a lawyer. They'd be like, well, how do you know? What evidence do you have? Well, I read the article. It was on Facebook. It has to be true. Yeah, okay. Okay. This just proves, everything I just said proves that we are in the big carnival. We're in a big carnival. It's Barnum and Bailey, sucker born every minute. Bread and circuses. Profitable lies. That's what we live in. America, the empire, it's built on consumerism, replace and buy again and replace and buy again and believe this and do that. And don't you want to do the right thing and blah, blah, blah. We're playing a game of chess. This is like postmodern chess. This is a calculated game. It's a big club and you ain't in it. Like George Carlin said, you got to play the game. It's a chess game. That's just how it is. And you and me, we're a bunch of pawns. We're on the front lines. We have the least amount of moves, and we're the first to go. So make sure you got a game plan. Last story I'm going to talk to you about is CERN, the particle accelerator that I bring up sometimes on the show in Switzerland. They're doing some crazy things down there. Some people speculate the conspiracy nut jobs. I wouldn't know anything about that. They speculate that that is opening portals because they are, throwing particles at one another at the speed of light and seeing what happens. I don't know if that's supposed to happen. I don't know if we're supposed to be doing that. Maybe we're messing with the order of things. Who knows? But I will say that CERN, this giant underground particle accelerator in Switzerland, seems to be self-aware of what they're doing. They have a giant statue outside of CERN to symbolize CERN, and it is Shiva, the Hindu god or goddess of creation and destruction. Now, why would you do that? And she's in, you know what this god or goddess is in? It's in a big portal. It's in a big ring. They are saying the quiet part out loud. Like I said, all these Satanists, demon, whatever they are, whatever you want to call them, the evil people of this life, secret society, they have to show you exactly what they're doing. Like I said, with Hollywood movies and in these things, the influence, they tell you what they're doing. They just know that you will be ignorant enough to not notice or do anything about it or say anything about it. But they believe in the karma too, They can't lie. Like when they're judged, they'll be like, we said exactly what we were doing, so it was okay. And when you put a goddess of destruction in a portal outside of a particle accelerator and you go wonder what they're doing in there, it's probably fine. That's your fault, for not questioning the giant elephant in the room. That's kind of a Hindu reference there. But yeah, so speaking of CERN, this is why I bring CERN up. They just had a new development. They were able to turn lead, the metal lead, into gold with their particle accelerator. Talk about messing with the order of things, messing with the elements, the atomic molecular structure of elements. Interesting. That seems fine. This is a little odd. This is like Rumpelstiltskin shit. Remember Rumpel? Well, Rumpelstiltskin, he turned straw into gold. Some weird, woodland dwarf creature, Rumpelstiltskin. Remember the old fairy tale? Turned straw into gold. Now we're doing it. What could go wrong? I don't know. We're messing with the natural order of things. You know why? Because we're playing postmodern chess. You and me are the pawns going to work every day, paying our bills, feeding our families in the rat race. And then there's people in the back, who knows what pieces they are. They're turning lead into gold in an underground portal machine. We are not the same. We are not the same. Think about what players might be on the postmodern chess board. Who are the people? Who are the pieces in the postmodern chess set? Presidents, sheiks, rabbis, scientists, popes, celebrities. Who would be those pieces in the postmodern chess set. I don't know who will be your important pieces, but I will tell you who the pawns are, and it's us. We are the pawns in the game of chess. And it's very difficult for a pawn to take on a big piece, but not impossible. You have less moves, you have less power, but a pawn can still take a big piece. There's this old adage. It's not really old. It's actually a new adage from Andrew Tate-like pseudo-masculine men online. The game ain't over when the pawn steals your queen. It's over when the king falls. And that's like, I guess, a toxic masculine motivational speech quote thing that incel type men say and get on a shirt and wear it. to a Planet Fitness. Yeah. We are in the postmodern chess set. Find your place and play strategically. Be 8 steps ahead. That's all I could say. Be aware of your surroundings. It's my advice. Take it or leave it. This episode is brought to you in part by Jack's Pub and Eatery and Three Saints Barbershop located in historic downtown Jessup, PA. Mike the Barber had a very fun night owl session this past Thursday. And if you don't know what night owl is, it's the after late hours of the barbershop. He does cuts there well into the night, sometimes into the next day, well after midnight. A lot of funny, uncensored conversations going on there. It's like a podcast, but live. Very fun. Had a great time. A lot of laughs this past one. I'll be hanging out with Mike the Barber all week. We have festivities all week for the Race of the Saints. Going to be very busy. And again, I will not have an episode for you next week. I hope this will satiate your hunger. I hope it will be sufficient. I hope you got your fill. Remember, you are in postmodern chess. Play well. Stay curious, my friends. Good night.